All this week, we've been getting comments about El Dorado Hills and Folsom. Which one is the better spot to live in? So I decided, let's do a video. El Dorado Hills versus Folsom. These two cities are two of the most requested and most popular cities in the Sacramento metro. If you're looking for the schools, the lifestyle, location, these two cities have it all. So in this video, we're going to be bringing in the maps. We're going to be talking about schools, key neighborhoods, shopping, also some key gotchas that you need to be aware of if you're thinking about making the move to either Folsom or El Dorado Hills. Now, another thing we're also going to do is bring in some polls, bring in some opinions of people who actually live in Sacramento and get their opinions on what they actually think about both El Dorado Hills and Folsom. Let's get into the video. Okay, this video should be pretty educational to a lot of people who are thinking that Folsom and El Dorado Hills, kind of the same thing, right? For a lot of people moving into the area, you look at Folsom, you look at El Dorado Hills, kind of same kind of area, same kind of topography, and you're thinking, oh yeah, this is kind of an extension of Folsom, or Folsom is an extension of El Dorado Hills. Not so. The last video we did, Folsom or Rockland, pretty much doppelgangers as far as almost everything, honestly. Now, Folsom and El Dorado Hills, kind of different right now too. I still think popularity-wise, Folsom still gets it. Folsom is just known outside the Sacramento metro area, so a lot of people hear about Folsom. Now, here's the thing about El Dorado Hills. As far as price point goes, El Dorado Hills, you're looking at probably median home price somewhere in the 900s, probably low 900s, but still there. Granite Bay right now is one of those areas in the Sacramento metro where in Granite Bay, the median home price is over $1 million. But El Dorado Hills is right under that in the low 9s, and it's probably going to be increasing. Now, as far as popularity, though, Folsom still has it. Energy, home insurance, those are two big trigger words for a lot of people, and that's kind of pushing a lot of people into Folsom right now. There's still amazing spots. Like I said, if you're looking for views, lifestyles, golf course communities, and everything, these two spots are just like exactly what you always thought Sacramento was when everyone's talking about views, big houses, all that stuff, guys. These two spots definitely have it. As far as shopping, got to give the edge to Folsom. Palladio's where a lot of the shopping happens. A lot of people from El Dorado Hills will probably drive into Folsom for the shopping, the Costco's and everything too. Now, here's an interesting one. We were going to see an Amazon, like one of those like an Amazon center in El Dorado Hills. El Dorado Hills fought that and actually didn't allow it to be built there. There's a big fight going on for a Costco in El Dorado Hills too. A lot of people don't want it built there. So where's your Costco? Your Costco is going to be in Folsom. Now, as far as El Dorado Hills, drive to like downtown, you're probably talking about 35 minutes, depending on where you live in El Dorado Hills. You could be really close to Folsom Lake in El Dorado Hills, and there's windy roads. It could take you more than like 25 minutes to get to the freeway. So it's very, very different as far as getting to downtown. Folsom, I'd say about 25, 35 minutes around there, no matter where you live in Folsom. So that's kind of one of the things I'll say. As far as, like I said, home value, you know, both areas have skyrocketed. But the thing with Folsom is because there's so much more new home building happening in Folsom that communities like Canterley, Lariat, KB communities as well too started building like in the 600s, which Folsom price point kind of dipped a little bit. So Folsom median home price in the low 700s, maybe 750. I'd give it at that. But at the same time, you're looking El Dorado Hills over 900s, and it's becoming the second basically highest price, average home price in all the Sacramento metro. Like I said, both these spots are pretty amazing. I'd say as far as more hills, more topography, more of that Northern California views and everything too, got to give the edge to El Dorado Hills. Folsom, you start to get the little bit of the incline, and so you're getting your communities like the Lakeview communities, Serpa, you're getting some of these communities like Empire Ranch where you have the views, but a lot of Folsom is also still flat, like your Briggs Ranch and everything too. So I'd say in El Dorado Hills, if you like those hills, if you like those views, if you like that kind of topography, I guess you can call it, El Dorado Hills definitely has more of that. But like I said, it's not really one of those things where you're going to find things in El Dorado Hills you're going to find in Folsom and El Dorado Hills. Now, if you want some communities that are kind of like almost like will give you the vibe of El Dorado Hills, but you don't deal with PG&E, I'd say look at Lakeview communities, look at Empire Ranch. Those communities for me, a lot of my clients that I work with who are looking for El Dorado Hills but don't like PG&E, they love Empire Ranch and they love the Lakeview communities. Price point is decent. Lakeview communities where you're going to find some of the custom homes as well too. So like I said, the trigger words right now to separate between the two, home insurance and PG&E versus SMUD. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but both places are pretty amazing. And like I said, if you guys are looking for resort style living, golf course communities, if you're looking for the schools, the shopping, and everything that you dreamt of in a luxury kind of like resort style kind of area, Folsom, El Dorado Hills definitely have it. In fact, a lot of people who have not heard of El Dorado Hills come out here looking at Folsom, and then they choose El Dorado Hills over Folsom because they feel it's a little further away from things, and they love that. All right, let's bring it to the maps right now. Let's talk a little bit about some of the stats on both these amazing cities in the Sacramento real estate market. Okay, let's jump right in. Population-wise, El Dorado Hills, probably close to about like half of Folsom, just because of all the new home building that's been happening in Folsom Ranch. I mean, we're talking, they plan on putting in, I think they've already got like 12,000 houses out there. They plan on putting like around 30,000 houses before 2030. So there's gonna be a lot of people moving into Folsom, especially Folsom Ranch area. El Dorado Hills, like I mentioned, as far as the new home goes, like, they have some builders up there. They got Elliott building up there. Toll Brothers is still building up there. New home company with Ridgeview. But they're more like, it's harder to get a brand new home in like El Dorado Hills for anything under like $850. Where in Folsom Ranch, you probably get something for around $750 now. So there's a big difference as far as pricing goes, and as far as like the population increase. El Dorado Hills, one of the things I've definitely found about El Dorado Hills is the fact that, you know, like people in El Dorado Hills like keeping it the way it is. They don't like bringing in a whole lot of new stores. Everything there is very boutique-ish. Everything there is like, if you've gone to the town center, it's just really, really nice. They're very select on what gets built in El Dorado Hills. Whereas Folsom, the growth in Folsom is just gonna be crazy. You got that indoor hockey rink coming in, you know, 3 hockey rinks, that athletic center. You got like 2 more schools or 3 more schools coming in. You have like the Dignity Health Campus, the UC Davis campus. So Folsom is gonna become a really, really nice, kind of like a mini city, I guess you could say, or mini kind of like city comparatively towards Sacramento downtown. It's going to be nice. It's already a destination spot. Hopefully they don't build too much into Folsom, because Folsom still has some of the most beautiful landscape there is. And El Dorado's Hills, if you see the spike right here, that's when all of a sudden you just saw the price point kind of just elevate, right? At one point in time, Folsom and El Dorado Hills were kind of neck and neck, and El Dorado Hills just kind of now is, you know, like I said, the median home price is $100,000 to $120,000 more in El Dorado Hills. You can tell here, and this is going to be, and this is Folsom. Like I said, they exaggerate a little bit on the numbers just because the inventory isn't there and they don't really factor in a lot of the new homes. But if you can see here, median list price here, around $800,000 in Folsom. I'd say probably a little lower than that, maybe like $770,000. We do a lot of like listing and a lot of like buyers in both these areas. So I'd say that comparatively towards like, you know, areas like, you know, Folsom, Zillow, they're saying like $779,000, Realtor $748,000. So there's going to be a little bit of a disparity between, or like a little bit of a difference between like what a lot of these companies are saying they list in Folsom or what things sell for. I would say in Folsom, if you're looking for like a 3 and 2, you can still get something in the sevens, probably like 760 or above. I'd say if you're looking for something amazing too, you can get something 2-3 million up in Serpa. Folsom though is super, super in demand right now too. And like I said, because of all this stuff happening with PG&E, all this stuff happening with home insurance as well too, Folsom is just even more popular than it's ever been. These new home communities are just selling. It's one of the areas in the Sacramento metro that you're going to get the least amount of kind of like, you know, like giveaways or like incentives. So Folsom is super, super hot. So I'd say as far as popularity goes, it's different, right? I think people who move into El Dorado Hills, considering what the price point looks like, and like I said, this is all just based on like all the stuff, not the new home stuff. It depends on where you look as far as the median sold price and everything too. But for the most part, what you're going to be looking is if you are going to El Dorado Hills and you're looking for like a brand new home, you're not going to find anything at Toll Brothers. You're not going to find anything at New Home Company for under $1 million. Maybe at Elliott Homes you might be, but for the most part, the price point is pretty steady at El Dorado Hills, and it's going up and up and up. The only thing I will say, as we can see right here at El Dorado Hills, it has stalled a little bit, like I said, about home insurance and as far as like, you know, all that stuff. So, and a lot of people, you know, PG&E is just getting kind of worse and worse and worse. And so it's not something people absolutely love. So that's kind of what the price difference looks like. So if you're someone who's maybe from the Bay Area, someone coming in and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really want to go, like I want to keep it under $1 million. I would say Folsom is probably going to get you all the bells and whistles still, even though the market is going to be super, super competitive over there, more competitive and more like heated, I would even say, than El Dorado Hills. And like I said, here you go. El Dorado Hills, seller advantage slightly, and Folsom, I mean, literally, Folsom never stops. I mean, it's like a strong seller's market. It's just one of those areas. Folsom is just so hot and so in demand. Like, I can't even tell you how many clients get so frustrated looking at Folsom. A lot of them decide to pony up a little bit, maybe head to El Dorado Hills. Some of them come into Gold River. Some of them go into other areas. So Folsom is definitely one of those spots that is really, has been and always will be in high demand in our area. All right, let's get into some of the other stuff as well, too. Now, here we go as a map. Now, over here, you got El Dorado Hills, and over here, you got Folsom. Now, as I was telling you guys here's Sacramento downtown. Now, the thing about El Dorado Hills is you can kind of tell here, it kind of like, the thing about El Dorado, sorry about that, is the fact that, you know, it looks deceptively super close to the 50 right here. But the thing about El Dorado Hills is it has all these windy roads, and it's just such a drive sometimes to get to the freeway. So if you're someone who's working downtown and you're in love with El Dorado Hills, I get it. It's an amazing spot to live, but you just got to remember the fact that, you know, you got to drive to the freeway, then you got hit in there. Traffic can be a little bit of a nightmare. Now, another thing too, what you have to remember as well too, because here, what we're seeing in Folsom, where is this? Like I think it's over here where all the new homes, with all the new homes that are kind of gonna cluster up East Bidwell, all the people coming home, that area, it's already kind of a traffic spot around like around 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's already a traffic spot around 5 at night till maybe about 6:30. It's probably gonna get worse with all the homes they're building there, because 50 is our main artery to get down to downtown Sacramento. So it could get a little worse for people who live in El Dorado Hills. It's just something to think about. Now, as you can see, both Folsom and El Dorado Hills have great lake access. It's just a nice spot. And like I said, 50 is my favorite freeway, bar none. It's just an easy freeway to navigate. All right, let's go back to the maps over here. Now, if you can see the map here, you're going to see just, you know, it doesn't really do it justice. And we'll bring into other stuff to show you guys a little bit later, some of the communities like Empire Ranch, Serrano, and everything too. But for the most part, here's what I'm talking about right here. Here's a 50 right here. And then, like I said, it gets a little windy here, and the roads are a little jumbled to get to certain areas like Promontory. It's a drive out there. I mean, I don't know. It's just there are certain areas that are. Now, Briggs Ranch, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, Briggs Ranch is over here. American River Canyon North is over there. Yeah, except the road system in Folsom is a little bit easier to deal with. And what you're going to notice in El Dorado Hills, it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. You're driving down there. It's nice, but it is definitely very windy. There's a lot of hills, and the traffic just moves a little slower there. In Folsom, everything kind of goes a little quicker. But like I said, for you guys who are thinking El Dorado Hills, with all the new home building that's happening here. And yes, there is a back road over here to hit you in El Dorado Hills. But for the most part, for me, I just see such a traffic jam happening right here. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind about El Dorado Hills versus Folsom. All right, so that's location, breakdown area. Now let's talk a little bit about shopping. Shopping is clutch. For a lot of people who move into areas, you don't want to be too far from everything. Now, as far as Folsom, it's got a nice Costco right off the 50 on East Bidwell. You're going to see a bunch of other stuff happening over here as well, too, with all the new homes. A lot of new commercial developing here. Now, there's some outliers here, but like here, the premium outlets, if you're looking for a Coach wallet, if you're looking for Adidas, there is definitely some good options at the premium outlets for sure. But what you're going to notice in Folsom is the big artery, East Bidwell. That's where you're going to find a majority of the stores, the restaurants, and everything. Yes, Folsom Boulevard or Folsom definitely has its stuff there as well too. But for the most part, what I normally find is that the stores that I'm looking for, like the Targets, the Trader Joe's, the Lowe's, the Home Depots, the Home Goods right here, those are kind of all down East Bidwell. So if you're looking for something and you're saying to yourself, I live in Folsom, I need to find some stores or whatnot, drive down East Bidwell. I guarantee you'll find what you're looking for. The DMV, I think, is even down East Bidwell as well, too. So the main artery for shopping in Folsom, California is East Bidwell. And like I said, you go down the 50, take off on the East Bidwell, don't go where the new homes are, and then just shoot down there, and you're going to find yourselves, like I said, your Trader Joe's. You're going to find In-N-Out Burger right there as well, too. You're going to find like the Palladio that's maybe about 10 minutes from the freeway as well, too, where you're going to find movie theaters and everything, too. So Folsom is lined with a lot of stores. Now, let's shoot up to El Dorado Hills over here. El Dorado Hills, it's interesting right here. What you're going to notice is it all kind of hubs up in the town center. So if you're getting off the freeway, El Dorado Hills Boulevard, you're right here, the town center. You got the Nugget. You got like Sellen's Market Cafe. You got all the stuff. You got Starbucks. You got banks. You got, I think, O'Reilly's over there as well too. But the majority of the shopping in El Dorado Hills is right here at the town center. It is probably the most, and yes, I'm going to use the word bougie mall in all the Sacramento area. They got man-made lakes. There's bands playing out there. There's some really nice bistros, some nice spots, guys. This is probably one of those spots that like you just, you're not going to get that this is Sacramento. I mean, this looks a little Southern California out there too. It's a really, really nice spot. But so it brings me to another big point about shopping is if you're moving to Folsom, because East Bidwell is the main artery that goes through Folsom, you're going to have access to shops pretty much no matter where you live, Briggs Ranch, you got shopping right there, Lexington, you got shopping pretty much close by. Now, because everything is kind of clustered in El Dorado Hills at the town center, what you're going to notice for the most part is that if you live somewhere like Promontory or like Blackstone or somewhere like far out in El Dorado Hills, you are going to have to drive to this kind of area right by the freeway for your like nugget shopping, for a lot of the Target stuff as well too. So shopping isn't as accessible in El Dorado Hills as in Folsom, just a heads up. Okay, so now let's pop into some of the more kind of popular and kind of the more requested communities in both El Dorado Hills and Folsom. First of all, without a doubt, right here, you're probably looking at like Serrano. Serrano's an interesting one. It's like a lot of different villages in Serrano. Tippy Top, North Serrano is where you're going to find. Hard to get in there under 1.7. You're looking at a majority of this custom home building in El Dorado Hills in the Serrano area. It does happen in North Serrano. It's where the golf course is. Absolutely beautiful. In fact, a lot of the video that we used at the very beginning of this video was Serrano. It's just gorgeous. If you're looking for homes, $2, $3, $4, $6 million, $10 million homes, that's where you find them. Now, the thing that's different from Serrano as opposed to Grant Bay is a lot of people who build in Serrano built like on like maybe maximum of an acre. So everyone's kind of maximizing views, infinity edge pools and everything too. So Serrano's great. Now you can get in at some of the other villages in Serrano for the most part at like maybe like 850, 900 and everything too. But it's a really nice area. There is Melrose, there is HOA as well up there. So just keep that in mind. But it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance, drive down Greenview. You will not regret it. It is absolutely amazing up there. Now, the other spot, Promontory. This is one of those communities that honestly could rival Serrano for the views. Promontory is just absolutely stunning, but it is close to the water, which is bringing in a little bit of the insurance thing. So just before you fall in love with Promontory and all those views and everything too, hilly, nice and everything too, just make sure you check with the home insurance as well too. And here we go with Blackstone on the other side. Blackstone, for the most part, is primarily like a Lennar built community, gorgeous homes. A lot of people could put a lot of money in these homes. Location is great. The only thing I will have to say about Blackstone is if you look a little bit above the hill in Blackstone, they're going to be building a whole bunch of homes up there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, another one too, just a heads up, if anyone's looking, there's another community past Blackstone, and it's a active plus 55 community. So if you're someone who maybe likes a plus 55 community and you're thinking El Dorado Hills, that's another one for you that you can definitely check out. So those are kind of the main spots, main communities that we kind of get asked about. Serrano, definitely the number one. It just is a staple there. It's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. Anytime we drive people through Serrano, that's where they want. So it's absolutely stunning. All these communities, I'd say Blackstone, Promontory, Serrano, hard to get in underneath $900,000, and it can go upwards. Blackstone, I'd say the highest priced home I've seen there is maybe like $2 million home. Promontory, 3.5. In North Serrano, I've seen stuff in $5-6 million up there. So that's what that looks like. All right, now let's get into Folsom. I talked a little about this in my Rockland video, but if you're looking for no HOAs, if you're looking for no Melrose, I love Briggs Ranch. They have a little bit of some of the older communities too that do have this. Now, side note, in El Dorado Hills, there is some houses like that in Ridgeview, on the lower part of Ridgeview, which is another community I like, a little bit more affordable. And I did a couple of videos like on Bar J in Cameron Park that has the views of El Dorado Hills, no HOA, and Melrose as well too. So there are these communities, but it's really important to work with the realtors to actually know these neighborhoods and areas, because you might not even hear about a community that has no HOAs in Melrose unless your realtor says, hey, guess what? Let's check out this community. That's something to keep in mind. Okay, American River Canyon, North and American River Canyon. Driving through, Both those communities, absolutely stunning. American River Canyon, I'd say like 700-ish, 800-ish. Probably get something there. I mean, it goes all the way up to 1.2 or whatnot. But North American River Canyon North is where you're not going to get in under probably $1 million. Briggs Ranch, like I said, I love that area, super close to the water. But still, the home insurance isn't that crazy, which is interesting. Then, of course, you have like, what is it? You have stuff that I don't have on this. You have Empire Ranch. And this is for the people who kind of like, you want El Dorado Hills, but you don't want to deal with the home insurance and you don't want to deal with PG&E. Empire Ranch is pretty nice. Now, two communities I don't have listed here are Serpa. That's where their custom homes are going to be built. If you ever go to Costco and you look on the hill and you see these ginormous homes and you're thinking to yourself, man, those views have got to be amazing. That's where you're going to see them. And on the other side of that, on Sundal, is the Lakeview Communities, a great community, a lot of custom homes over there as well too. Now, on the other side of the 50 is where you're going to find new homes. And like I said, new homes are big business in Folsom. KB, Lennar, Taylor, Toll, you name it, they're building in Folsom Ranch. What do I think about Folsom Ranch? I think that they're building too many homes there. But if you're someone who's looking, the latest and greatest is Woodside, and they're building on the hill with views. Might be a little close to the 50, but really, new homes, if you're looking for that price range, Folsom Ranch is definitely the spot that I'd be looking at. Now, both areas, honestly, you got the water sports, you got the hills, you got everything that you possibly want. These areas have that resort lifestyle vibe. Okay, so now let's jump into schools. And these are pulled directly from greatschools.org. Schools in general are very subjective. I mean, these are going to be rankings, but at the same time, if it's me, I'm probably going to go to the school, vibe out the area, vibe out the community before I put my kids into any type of schools. Now, Sacramento in general has some great private schools options as well too. But here we go. Look at this. Folsom's 9s for elementaries. I mean, and the new one in Mangini, oof, that thing is like a little mini like high school. It's crazy. So you got these for elementary, middles, you got 8 and a 7, and boom, for high school, you got Vista and Folsom High, and then you got a low one at Folsom Lake High School. Again, guys, schools are very subjective, and these are rankings based on greatschools.org. So just take it with a grain of salt, but understand that a lot of people love Folsom for their schools. Vista High School is, people love the lacrosse program. Folsom Bulldogs as well too. They're really, really nice schools. And like I said, I have nieces and nephews at those schools currently. My daughter is probably going to go to Folsom High as well too. So like the schools there, people really love. And a lot of people who move into the area love the schools in Folsom. Now there's going to be new ones built in Folsom Ranch. There's already that Mangini Elementary. There's set to be about 2 to 3 more schools in that area as well too. So Folsom, like I said, if you're talking about growth, if you're talking about just a boom, Folsom is going to be that and even more. But here you go with El Dorado Hills now. You got some nice scores as well here. I mean, it really is just picking like an area, because as far as schools go, both El Dorado Hills and Folsom have based on greatschools.org good rankings. Okay, so now let's talk house styles. First, let's go into El Dorado Hills. Like I said, you're going to find so many different price points in El Dorado Hills. It's kind of nuts. Like I said, the big trigger words right now, home insurance and PG&E versus SMUD. But for the most part, you're going to see some stuff like underneath $1 million. You're talking the square footage is going to be like around 1,600 square feet. You're going to see some of these amazing homes. A lot of them also, you have to understand that Lennar built some homes in Serrano. Toll Brothers built some homes in Serrano. There's been a lot of builders creating this amazing community or amazing communities in El Dorado Hills. It's also sprinkled in with a lot of custom home building as well too. But these homes, really, really nice. Swimming pools, great. Like, look at this. 1.2 gets you this. I mean, how beautiful is that? Gated, nice, lush, it's got solar. Guys, like these type of homes are just amazing. So if you're someone who's thinking to yourself, I want it all. I love the idea of moving to Sacramento. I mean, look at this. Also, lots here. These are a little high price, I will say. But for the most part, you got some lots selling with these kind of views as well, too. So customs, like I said, is a big thing here in Serrano, in El Dorado Hills, Promontory. They're building some custom homes as well, too. But you can find some. Some of the smaller homes, like I said, are going to be, like underneath the 1,500 square feet. But this is what you're going to find out here. And a lot of building, like I said, you've been seeing a lot of land listings like I have. Things are good. Now, I will say competitively, Folsom versus El Dorado Hills. Folsom's market, I think the days on the market is going to be a lot shorter. I think Folsom's market is super competitive. One, because number one, Folsom is like known outside the area. The other thing too is the price point is lower. And I think just the fact that we have so much new home building happening in Folsom, but you can still get these amazing houses in Folsom here too. Man, it's going to be a hard thing to pick. And this is kind of where this is kind of like the older part of Folsom where a lot of people gather during summertime. It's a hard one, guys. I mean, El Dorado Hills or Folsom. I don't know what you guys are thinking already in this video, but let me know in the comments below. Like I said, a lot of new home building, a lot of similar styles between Folsom and El Dorado Hills. But like I said, the main thing to keep in mind is that in El Dorado Hills, it's going to be a little bit more hilly. And in Folsom, you are going to have some of those flat areas. But the home styles, you can find everything you want, anything you guys want in either Folsom or El Dorado Hills. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the triggers, the things you need to watch out for if you're moving into both these areas. Home insurance and PG&E versus SMUD. What we've been noticing lately is Folsom's gotten even more popular because of PG&E, and also when everyone hears about wildfires and everything too, everyone's thinking their premiums are going to go up, insurance companies are leaving the state. So the two big things that steer people into Folsom as opposed to El Dorado Hills is basically what I'm seeing, PG&E and home insurance. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't consider El Dorado Hills because of this. I mean, it's a beautiful area. It's an awesome place to live. I have a lot of friends who live there. Now, I have a lot of friends who live in Folsom. They're both amazing spots. Just make sure you're working with the right people to give you the right advice as far as home insurance, as far as PG&E versus SMUD. You might be moving into a house in El Dorado Hills that doesn't really have to deal with high homeowners insurance. You might be moving into a house in El Dorado Hills that has solar and everything is just a little bit easier. So just these are the things I'd say to consider though. But at the same time, if it's me, and this is a letter I got from PG&E today, basically saying like what they've been hearing from a lot of their clients, the bill's too high, they're not doing enough to prevent future wildfires. There's a lot of chatter about this currently in the market, but I would say for anyone who's deciding between Folsom and El Dorado Hills, these are the two things. These are the deal breakers. These are the gotchas you definitely need to consider before you pull the trigger on either El Dorado Hills or Folsom, California in the Sacramento metro. During the course of the week, we ran various polls on the Sacramento Real Estate channel so we could get input from you guys, the subscribers to this channel, and people who were just looking at these polls to get a little bit more input on Folsom versus El Dorado Hills. It's a little easy to do a one-sided video, choose one or the other, but we wanted to get the input of people who live in the Sacramento area and what they think about El Dorado Hills versus Folsom. Schools, energy, better places to live. So we're showing the results of those polls right now, and hopefully it helps you make a decision between Folsom and El Dorado Hills, but we thought, why not show you guys what other people in the area think of both Folsom and El Dorado Hills? Hopefully it helps. Okay guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video, but I want to know from you guys, what's a better spot to live in, Folsom or El Dorado Hills, based on lifestyle, location, price point, jobs, and shopping? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. It would mean a whole lot to me and the YouTube algorithm. Also guys, any comments and questions, put them below. We answer all of them. Subscribe also if you're looking for some amazing content about the Sacramento area. Maybe you haven't moved here, maybe you're thinking about it. This channel is a great resource for you guys. We're gonna be dropping a whole lot more content to keep you educated about the area. Now, if you're relocating to the area, we'd love to talk to you a little bit about Sacramento and why it's an amazing spot to live, answer any questions you have, and educate you on the area. Guys, we're one of the top relocation teams, and we would absolutely love to work with you. Also, if you're thinking about listing your home and you don't want to settle for one of those post in the ground realtors, you want to get the most money humanly possible and the most eyeballs on your house, reach out to our team. We'd love to work with you and show you some analytics that prove to you and prove to everyone else out there why YouTube is amazing and why you need to get your home on there if you want the most money possible for your house. Okay, one last thing before I say goodbye. I created a playlist right over here. It's of videos that basically will give you an education and knowledge of Sacramento like no other. Click over there and check out the playlist. These videos are fine-tuned to tell you exactly about neighborhoods and areas and give you every piece of information that you're going to need to make your move to Sacramento a successful one. It's right over there, guys. Definitely click on that. Until next video, this is Mark. Have a good one.